Hi, gang. Kathy Vick, deeply awake. It's been funny around here, and it's been something that I really wanted to do, to come to the camera. And in fact, I have frequently, but not for publication. I've written a little bit, a couple of essays, and a couple of journal entries now and then. But I want to sort of just spend a little bit of time discussing things, just life. And I was feeling kind of funny about that for a long time, thinking if there is no shiny thing or meditation or I don't know, out of body experience, that it's just not worthy of publication. And what I realized today is that that's actually not true. Not anymore. For me, it was true that while I was in process, I didn't use this camera to just come to the screen and talk about life. Esoteric life, yes. But just my life in general, no. Why would I waste your time with that? I had thoughts to express and understandings to reveal, but now it's different. Now I understand that the job is to just live this out, and that's different. It elevates the daily walk. It really does. And I'm coming to terms with that. Because, that's what I want to discuss. I'm not the only one who has had to deal with a chronic health issue, chronic pain, and the neurochemical changes that kind of ordeal creates. I'm not the only one. And I had surgery. It'll be 6 weeks in another 4 days. So I'm 5 weeks out. And my body continues to stun me, awe me, surprise me, delight me. As I get stronger, daily I get stronger. Daily I can do more than I did the day before. It's incredible. Every single day, I have moments where I'm just overjoyed because I can stand on my right leg, and I don't have that exquisite, grinding, hot pain that about the last 6 months I was experiencing day and night, regardless of activity. So walking was hard. And then I had a hip replacement. And now I'm shocked at how much I accomplished given how debilitated I was. But more. Through this process, I got to deal with some anxieties. In order to get cleared for surgery, of course, you got to go through a lot of, tests and stuff. And because I'm older and I had been a smoker for many, many, many years, I qualified for a low-dose radiation early screen for lung cancer. And it involved a CT. And my lungs were kind of moist and bubbly, even though I had drastically reduced my smoking, and maybe because of that. But I was worried about my breathing and how I would manage with surgery. I was worried about that. So I consented to the CT. And before surgery, my doctor showed me the pictures. And, I smoked for over 40 years. And I was in agreement with that. Big fan. You'd never hear me say, I'm trying to quit. That was bullshit. Either you commit or you don't. Either you are a smoker or you're not a smoker. And there's no trying to quit. There's being, an occasional smoker, which I am now. But I liked smoking. And I felt connected to my ancestors. I felt connected to myself. It was my way of pushing people away, of silently telling people what I thought. It was a way to isolate. It was a way to get outside when I was working. And so it served me. So he showed me the scan. He went with the scroller on his mouse pad when I was asking about the CT. And he went through my lungs. I could see the pictures. He said that he had expected to see some damage. And he showed me where he would have anticipated damage. And there was none. I had a mass in my pelvis. And I knew of that for, almost a year. But I didn't have insurance. And so then I was in a position where I could get that diagnosed. And I had an amazing diagnostic. And I have a traveler. I guess I was, I don't know, a frustrated mom. So I made a little traveler that travels with me. But it's nothing to worry about. And that's another bullet dodged. And then after surgery, my leg got really big and hot. And I got worried, so I went to the doctor. And the doctor told me to go to the ER because I had already been put on Keflex for that wound. It was just kind of hot and icky, but then it really blossomed. And that was my first ER visit. I had 3 in 3 weeks because my leg kept getting worse, bigger and hotter and more uncomfortable. And I was scared because they switched me to a more potent antibiotic. And still I was getting sick. And so the third time I presented, who should walk in but my surgeon? And he put me right. He took away my fear, which was grounded and pretty intense because I had seen a lot of people in my day go through some pretty awful complications from surgery, and I didn't want to be one of those people. And there he was telling me that all of my lab work would indicate that there is no infection going on, and my body has already begun to return to pre-operative levels. And so he took me off the antibiotic, told me it was a bleed, and to just get on with it and not worry so much. So I did after that. And since then I've just sort of blossomed. And I'm just forever grateful for that. I'm so grateful for not having that pain anymore. It was a companion, but not one I wanted to keep around. And so part of this is I'll step on my leg and go, oh my God, there's no pain. Oh my God, this is so cool. And I get a little hit of excitement and joy. And then comes this realization that leading up to this surgical alteration, I had relinquished so much. My world had gotten so small. It had been probably a year of my giving money to Sam and him going into the store because I simply could not walk. And that all comes to an end. I mean, I was sort of limping there for a while, but I'm feeling so much better. And that's kind of what I'm scratching my head about. And I bring it to you because I think it matters. I think that it can be correlated to the spiritual journey that many of us are on, laden with pain, alive with suffering that could not be borne by another. It had to be borne by us. And for some of us, that was just the pain of having our eyes open and our heart open in a land where some don't. The pain that comes with having a closed mind and a closed heart and missing opportunities. But burdens nonetheless. And I adapted to my burden. I had to. And now I don't have to. Suddenly I can walk and I'm free to roam. So I've been wondering about that, up until about, 3 days ago. It really wasn't on my radar because I was still actively, recovering or recuperating, but I really feel like I've been switched on, and the more I move around now, the better I'm going to be. And so I think that the bedtime is over. I've ridden that bed. Oh my God. I'm going to have to get a new bed. I have grooves in my mattress. Anywho, I'm free to do as I see fit. I'm able to do as I see fit. Yes, I have restrictions. And although I wouldn't call them severe, they are they impact my choices and my options. But I do very well, and I'm comfortable, and so is my son. So it's like the world opened up, and I'm glad I have help. I'm glad I have people in my reality whose role it is to help me and to reorganize me. Executive functioning has never really been my strong suit. I mean, planning, time. I mean, I could always manage a shift, but managing just appointments and daily life, I stopped using a day planner years ago. So I'm having to relearn skills, and I'm having to follow through with the promises I make myself, and I'm talking to myself in a new way and responding to myself in a new way. And it's easy to get hung up on the details of, I should sit down and write down all my appointments and I gotta have rules to make my reality go. That's my mantra. I have to have rules to make my reality go. And I sort of suspended my rules there for a while. I couldn't enforce my rules, so I had to suspend them. And now Well, it's really not about the mechanics. It's really not about whether I have executive functioning skills or not. That's not it. I was driving home and just kind of thinking about everything, and it came through. But it was sort of blended, and my takeaway was that, well, they came in and said, "What is your intention, dear? All that matters here is intention." Because I'd been driving down the road, and I don't in particular like driving in close-up neighborhoods. Kids dart out of peekaboo places, and I prefer the open road. And I was thinking about how my life would be forever altered if that happened. Boom. That'd be that. And how it could happen in a heartbeat at any time. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, these are really old thought grooves. Well, what matters is what do I have any need to do those lessons? No. So stop thinking about it. But then it went further. And they came through. And they talked about intention. And I was asked, where do I intend to be on a beautiful April afternoon in 2019? What do I want to have in my reality? What sounds fun to be doing, saying, looking forward to, thinking on? And I came up with a few goals. And that's good. I'm very visual, and it's good for me to have intentions written somewhere I can see. They're like a goalpost or a signpost reminding me of the point. And that's what I had been sort of lacking, I think, up until now. And that's fine. It's been sort of just a swirl of days that have magically turned into weeks, where I really am not holding on to anything. My belief that I need the medications that I was on, my belief that my body is fragile. There are a lot of things I can just let go of, and I can set intention for what comes next. I'm not a big goal. I don't do goals because it's not like I intend to be pick in love or at my dream job or finally discovered or in a there's ways of setting this up where it's not me from this consciousness, which I know to be limited in relation to the consciousness that is to come. Why? When I want to set goals from a limited consciousness. Because then, the goals may not actually be appropriate to the situation a year in advance if my intuition isn't on. My intuition turns on when I think about intention. Intention conjures will. Everything else is just wishcraft, which is fine. It's magic, and it's fun. Oh my God, it's fun. To test your powers, to manifest something. Obviously, you're manifesting everything around you right now, but realizing you got a little power here, ooh, that's fun. Imagining a blue feather and then having it pop into your physical reality, or whatever you want to manifest. Well, everybody needs to go through that. But that's not intention. Because I'll tell you, when I set intention, I set it with my will and with my intent and with my intuition, and from a bigger place than my personality structure and the accepted limitations I have and all that crap. I don't want to set my goals based on limitation, misunderstanding, and less clarity than I know I will have later. So let's not do that. What do I intend to know, to be, to enjoy a year from now? A year that's goes by in an instant, but it's a good chunk of time. It makes me realize that what I'm doing right this minute matters, and it brings it back to the present moment always. Does it really matter if goals are realized? Is your sense of worth, of being intact and valid, connected with manifesting a goal that you set when you didn't understand what you understand now? It just seems like a setup for beating yourself up. Intention. And with all of my will. That's where I conjure things. And they come to pass. They just do. So I don't pull out the big guns all that often. But these days, I think it's appropriate. I'm setting my course in a brand new land that is free of impediment, free of obstacle, and free of nasty spectators. They're gone. It's just people participating who are around now. And those who participate fully are usually too busy and too joyful to criticize others. That's what I found. So, in this new land, I have the tool of intention. Yay. But I also, getting back to how I started, I also am beginning to realize that the daily walk is what's consecrated. The daily walk is what's holy. So it's really okay to come and say, blah, blah, blah. Because I think we're all in recovery. I think we're all being insulted, having things happen to us that are physically painful, that cause us to suffer, that create burdens. And boy, then you got to figure a few things out. Everybody's going through a version of this, And we're going through a version of this as a nation and as a species. So I think that I want to mention a metaphor that Cryon used about speeding up reality, changing this reality. And the idea here is that you may not even notice it all that much. You have to be observant to notice it. But I got more information about this on the highway. Mainly it's about speed. And if you imagine you're on a train and it's going, let's say, 60 miles an hour. So you can look out the window and things move along at a certain, rhythm or movement pattern. And you get a feel, and there's probably a sound associated with the tracks and everything like that. But I think what's been happening is that our speed has been increasing, our amperage, our spin, our speed. So he said that, you're a passenger in this train and you're going along. It's stable where you are. And so you may not even appreciate in any obvious way that your speed is increased unless you look out the window and use your observation skills to notice, oh, things are going by a little bit faster. It sounds a little bit different in this, are they called cabins? What's the point of that? Well, I was thinking about that on the highway. I think it has a lot to do with how time is sped up. And I know it has something to do with Einstein, but I don't know what. It has to do with speed, relative speed. But I think this is, if you're going to talk about dimensions, or you're going to talk about, dimensions. I've seen, the 5D, 7D, 9D portals opening up and things like that. And yeah, there are different there are different amperages available. You can say to the conductor, yeah, go as fast as your little heart desires with my train. Or please just keep it like this. I like it like this. I know I'll get there eventually. So let me have this pace. It doesn't matter if you go fast or slow. We're all going the same place. But this spin that I have been associated with forever, just how I understand that spin is just a. I can't even the concepts I get, I can't language. It's a profoundly esoteric thing. Spin. The spin is all, and the all is spin. So noticing that time is ramping up, noticing your sleep patterns changing, noticing changes in appetite or what you desire to eat, noticing different desires coming through, things that you definitely want to follow through with, things that are interesting but you're going to say no to in the end, things that no longer interest you, things that you begin to consider now that you'd never considered before. These are things that are happening for a lot of people. We're not stuck in a train cabin. We can move about freely. I brought up that metaphor just to mention spin. And I guess relativity in that, we all have our own signature. We all have our own rate of speed or spin. And we're all affecting each other. And these days, I'm not thinking so much in esoteric terms. I was so mad at everybody for not understanding me. Jesus God. Sorry about that, everybody. There's many things that were just standard operating procedure with me that I know they've fallen away because I'm roomier. There are some places where I can't go. I've made some decisions along the way. And as I present to my reality and my social structure and my leisure pursuits now, I do that with deep self-knowledge and self-acceptance. And the willingness and the ability to define myself, to identify myself, to state preferences, and to say no. I had not been saying no. And, you really can't say yes until you say no. And I think that this safety I've been feeling, more and more safety, part of it is in speaking, whatever the consequences, and always finding that there was never a problem to begin with. It was all in my head. And wanting to matter to people, wanting to connect, and wanting to do so authentically and honestly and without fear. It's hard-won knowledge, and some of it was hard to accept. But I'm really, really peaceful now. And I can go out in my reality now and really feel as if I am among friends, without as much fear, with more, don't want to say inner power, or just strength. And those are things that I had hoped for. So now I've seen how my life is gone, and I approve, and I see where it might go, and how important it is to focus in on this day. What am I doing today that moves me further along? And for me, moving further along often meant practicing self-care, learning how to self-indulge, allowing, giving permission to do things that I hadn't given myself permission to do. And so this is different. This is different. And I just wanted to pop in. I think that for me, I've said it before, I use my life as a living laboratory. I think that less and less. I'm less of a scientist and an explorer and a reporter, and more of just a friend now. So, but before, yeah, it was a big deal to not only be engaged, but also to be actively correlating everything to my spiritual understandings, and measuring myself and oh my God, it was so rigorous. And I'm so glad I did it. But now I can relax. I trust myself. I've done my work. That's when I realized looking at my tapes. I looked at the tapes from late April of 2016. Wow, that is so powerful, what I was going through. And so it reignited my belief in myself. And with that comes this great peace. I have studies, and they're unending. I can never master all of it, but I can try. And so the mind continues to stretch and stretch and stretch, learning and learning and learning and learning. Yeah, it's just wonderful. But it's not in order to synthesize, understand, organize, parse. Now I feel relaxed, and now I just want to enjoy the ride. And now I see that every moment is holy. So if I want to relax for a whole day, which is kind of what I did yesterday, so be it. But it's not to reward myself because I've had a horrible week, because people have been mean to me, or anything like that. It's because I make a conscious choice that today I'm taking off. This is what I need for me. Not hiding, just caring. So I'll finish with this really sweet thing that just kept coming through a lot today. And it was so sweet. And it made me feel kind of intoxicated from time to time. I was really surprised at how enduring the intoxication was. Because I realized I was driving, and it just came to me, now it's just time for me to be just really in love with myself. What do you do when you're in love with somebody? Well, for me, I've given him my stamp of approval. I'm now in observation mode. I'm just there to love, to observe, to assist. And I'm recording. That's the person that you're going to protect. You're going to make sure that their needs are met, and you want to make sure they're happy. And it just came to me again and again, really, really organic and thick, that's what I get to do for and to myself. And that's in addition to the yumminess that I might also be getting. But I get mine too. And so I know that I can go forward now with that. It's come through before, but this was physical, and it just made so much sense, and it was just a random thought that I had, and it just made sense. It was the perfect thought. So this doesn't mean a self, like a narcissistic kind of thing. A narcissist, staring at himself, his reflection in the pool. No. It's just really, really being in acceptance of self. And from there, all things are possible. Because, you know, what lies within the self, if you go looking, you find divinity. You find eternity, serenity, identity, peace. So I wanted to pass this on to you. I hope it helps. And to frame this, my physical health, the therapist I'm working with said it will be at least 6 months before I would be in any kind of physical shape to do a nursing shift. And so I have some time. I have some space. I'm not being rushed. And there's no boogeyman. Not anymore. So, I don't know. For what it's worth. I hope that these times are catching you willing to engage in hardcore self-care without a hint of the I'm doing this because I deserve it. You know, like the people who get drunk on Friday and Saturday night because they had such a rough week. And they have another rough week coming. I was one of those people for a while. Well, this is different. There's no self-pity. There's gratitude. But no self-pity. There's acceptance of what's ahead of me and what's in front of me. Where once there was fear and dread, I had 6 years of getting sicker and sicker. So if you're in that boat, you have a friend. And if what you have can't be fixed with surgery, I hope you know you have a consoler. All right. With that, I flee. There are good things ahead. Namaste.